For today's video, I thought I would do a book haul. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. This is Jenny Reads Maybe, where maybe I read or maybe I don't. For today's video, I thought I would do a book haul. Now, this is all just the books that I bought, received, or was sent during the month of January. I think there's 21 books. I'm very grateful to be a part of a couple of different publishing like influencer programs because of my Bookstagram. And two of those that I have books from are, I'm a Berkeley romance influencer, as well as a, I think, Forever influencer, but also I'm a part of the Discover Forever program, which they send books that might not necessarily be on my radar or on other radars, but that are published through them. And yeah, so I'm kind of gonna get straight into it. I thought I would start with the books that I am very grateful to have received from publishers. I have my stack here. So first I will start with Red String Theory by Lauren Kung Jessen. I was sent this by Forever. It is a finished copy. It is the follow-up to Lunar Love, which I read in 2023 and really enjoyed. I was very excited to receive this. I can't wait. I think it's kind of following the idea of like a red string and soulmates, and I enjoyed Lunar Love because, like, first of all, of like the culture involved, but also the like romance was very swoon worthy, if that makes sense. So that's the first book I was sent. Then we kind of have a stack of Berkeley books that I was sent. They still have the papers in them that are from them. So first I was sent a copy of Anna Maria and the Fox. I do already own this as a book of the month pick, but I love this cover and I've wanted the paperback. I just haven't bought it because I already own it, but now I have it. This follows Anna Maria and Gideon Fox. It's another one I read in 2023 and absolutely loved. A historical romance that takes place in England, and she is one of 3 Mexican heiresses that is sent to England to garner support for Mexico to fight against the French as they are trying to come in and colonize again, to my knowledge. But this is really sweet. I really love this. I love historicals with a big political part. I just find that they're easier to like because they have a message, and I really enjoyed that. Then I got sent a finished copy of Sex, Lies, and Sensibility by Nikki Payne. I arc read this over on NetGalley. I love this book. This is probably my favorite of the 2 that Nikki Payne's put out so far through publishers. But this is a Sense and Sensibility retelling following, oh my gosh, what are their names? Nora and Bear. Nora is a rich daughter who finds out that her father actually had a whole other family, and that she and her sister and her mom were the other family actually. And they have to go to Maine and sort of rebuild and re-put together the house that the father left them. And Bear is part of the native tribe there, and they kind of start out as not getting along, very quickly become friends, and it turns to lovers. I absolutely love this. It comes out, I believe, on the 13th, and I definitely recommend picking this one up. It's just amazing. I think about it to this day. Then, and I'm really grateful for this one, but also very interested, very irritated as well. And that is If Only You by Chloe Leese. This is the, 6th book in the Bergman series. Now, I own all the indie published versions of these, and I love them. I love them dearly, and I'm so happy that Chloe Leese managed to get a book deal through Berkeley for the Bergman Brothers series, and I love them. However, This is the sixth book in the new traditionally published cover. I don't own the first 5, and I really don't want to buy them because I already have them, but I know I'm probably going to end up doing it or putting them on my wish list or something. But this follows Ziggy and Sebastian in a kind of fake friendship, fake dating-ish scenario. He is a bad boy hockey player, she is the good girl soccer player, and they just kind of both want to get something from the other's reputation. Very sweet. I love this. I love everything Chloe Lees puts out. And yeah, I'm excited to have this, but also upset. Next, and the final one from Berkeley for the month of January, is The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. This is the follow-up to The Neighbor Favor, which I haven't read, but I do own a copy of it. I'm very excited to read it. This is a Married in Vegas story, and one thing about me is I'm a sucker for a Married in Vegas story. Just because I love the chaos, but also that is actually a part of my own story. My parents got married in Vegas, and then my mom married my stepdad in Vegas. So I love a good random Married in Vegas story. It's just super fun. I don't know much else about this, but I think that they are high school sweethearts that broke up and then are getting back together. I don't know, but I'm very excited to read this. I have the audio on hold for the first book, The Neighbor Favor, and then after I read that, I'm going to try to read this. This comes out February, I want to say 13th too, but I am not certain. I know it comes out in February. I'm very excited. Then I got 2 books from the Discover Forever program, and the first one is A Gentleman Never Tells by Jodi Ellen Malpass. I have never read a book from her, but I love a good historical, and I think this has to do with a rake, and one thing about me is I love a reformed rake. I love them. And I love the purple in the cover. I'm very excited. This and the next book also came with a very sweet note from the program head, Dana, and she's just very excited to have somebody else to scream about historical romances with, and I'm excited to get to this one. It is on the Publisher's Weekly, says it's a very sexy love, has very sexy love scenes that scorch the page, so I'm excited to get to this. Then, and the last book I received from the Discover Forever program is actually an arc for Lady Charlotte Always Gets Her Man. I don't know much about this, but again, it's a historical. I'm really excited to get to it. It comes out on the 5th of March, and let's see. She is betrothed to the wrong brother, it says on the back. So this sounds very fun. I actually love the cover. I kind of love the illustrated historical covers because I feel like they really do give off a good vibe. Not that I don't love the people covers of historicals. I love people in the cover. It's my favorite thing, but this is also cute. I'm very excited. It looks really cute and really good. And I'm excited to have gotten an arc. Next, we will go into my subscription box books, which I think I only have 4, and I will kind of go into them. So first, and I think this is from Hello Lovely, this is their trope of the month for Latte Darling by S.J. Tilley. I have not read this. My friend received a version of this from Fabled and read it and liked it. It's very cute. I unfortunately canceled my Hello Lovely subscription just because it just financially didn't make sense, and this is I think the last book I'll receive from them, maybe the second to last, but it looks cute. It I think has to do with a coffee shop, and there's a silver fox, and who knows, but I'm excited nonetheless. It's very cute. Then I have my Probably Smut book club for January, and that is Dark City Omega by Elizabeth Stevens. This is an Omegaverse book, and it's a very stunning edition. It's got all black pages and everything. I got the audiobook for this on Hoopla because it just came out, and I'm very excited to read this. I haven't read a ton of Omegaverse, but I'm very interested in diving into it more this year. And yeah, I'm very excited to get to this. I don't know much about it besides Omegaverse. Then I have my book of the month from January, and that is A Woman Is No Man by Itaf Rum. I have already read this and I really loved it. It follows 3 generations of Palestinian American women in the family, and it's just a very beautiful, hard story about the life of moving from Palestine while everything is going on, and dispossession and family trauma and generational trauma and just the resilience of women. I definitely recommend picking this up. I actually read this during the global strike for Gaza week, and I'm very glad I did. I also ended up, I think in February this month, I ended up buying her next book, Evil Eye, from Book of the Month also. I'm very excited to get it and read it. I did tab and annotate this, or I just annotated it, but it was very good. I recommend it. I'm glad I bought it. Then I have my Fairy Loot adult, which is The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. It's a really gorgeous edition. And I'm very sad, but also it makes sense why I will be canceling my subscription to Fairy Loot due to different things they have supported and different authors that they have supported over time. And I don't want to give my money to a company that actively is in support of genocide and those who are in support of it. So I will be ending my subscription. I think this is my last book, if not the next one. I don't know much about it, but I think a lot of people have read it. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Next is my stack of books that I bought on my own from the bookstore. There's a good chunk of these actually, but not as many as usual because they have gotten more free books in the past, but we'll kind of go through them very quickly. First is Snowed In with the Viking by Lucy Morris. I don't know much about this besides she snowed in with the Viking. I actually heard Fated Mates podcast talk about this, and it seemed right up my alley. It's actually my first Harlequin historical that I've bought on my own. I inherited a bunch from my grandma, but I'm excited. It looks super fun. It's super short, and I remember them talking about it and really praising it, so that will be exciting. Then, and this technically I didn't buy from a bookstore, but it's also not from a book box, but I'm a part of Katie Roberts' Patreon, and as a member of her Patreon, she sends out the finished copies of the books as they're published. And so I have Midnight Ruin by Katie Robert. This is the 6th book in the Dark Olympus series, which I need to catch up on. I think I've only read the first 4. And I believe this is, yes, it's Eurydice, Charon, and Orpheus. So it's MMF. There's a lot of different things. I'm excited to get to this one. I am behind and I have to catch up, but I enjoy the Dark Olympus series. Especially as it continues and as we're learning more about what's going on in the political atmosphere. And I'm excited for this one because of there's supposed to be a lot of groveling because Orpheus before this was trash and did bad things, and now he has to grovel to win back Eurydice and also Charon. And I think it's like Friends to Lovers plus other things. I'm excited to get to this. It looks super good and I love Katie Robert. So next I have American Dreamer by Adriana Herrera. And one thing about me, which I know I've said that a lot in this video, but one thing about me is I love Adriana Herrera. I read On the Hustle and what's the first book? I forget what the first book is. And last year, I also read her whole entire Toy Runner series last year. I was actually a part of the Kickstarter for that, and I was really glad to have. And then I also read her different short stories that she put into the Noche Buena book that she did with a bunch of other authors. So I love her. I'm very excited to get to this series. This is kind of where she started off. And it is a Afro-Caribbean food truck from New York City, and there's like a good cute romance in this. I'm very excited. It's and it just looks really good, and I trust Adriana Herrera to not let me down. I will probably end up loving this as I've loved everything else that I've read by her. Next I picked up, and this is kind of where I'm trying to diversify my shelves, not just in the sense of reading from more authors of colors or disabled authors or LGBT authors or kind of everything in that ballpark, but also I'm trying to diversify the genres that I read. I read predominantly romance, and I love romance. I love the messages it has. I love the representation that romance has come to be. However, I also want to branch out and read other genres, and as you can see from my book of the month pick by Ida From, I'm trying to get more into literary fiction, but also poetry and different things this year. And so I picked up On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I read his poetry collection. What's it called? I don't know, but I read one of his poetry collections in January and really enjoyed his writing style. Mel from Mel Reads has talked about this and really loved it. I wanted to pick this up, and so I decided to. I believe it is a letter of it says it's a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. And there's going to be a lot of different discussions and explorations in this one, but I'm very excited. I'm prepared to cry because I feel like it's going to be an emotional read for me, but I'm very, very glad to have gotten a copy of this. Next, I picked up Juniper Thorn by Ava Reed. Now, I remember this was pretty hyped on Book Talk a while ago, and I never picked it up because I wasn't in my fantasy era, even though I love fantasy. But I decided to pick it up. I know everybody's been loving Ava Reed recently because of, what was it called? Whatever her newest release is. But I want to read this. I also think I have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have books by her, but haven't read them. And I want to get to this. It sounds good. I don't know much, but I know it's kind of got the gothic fantasy vibe, which is actually the brand of fantasy that I love the most. And yeah, I'm really interested in this, and hopefully I'll pick it up soon. Then I have another book that I've actually already read, and that is Raiders of the Lost Heart by Joe Segura. This was actually the Literary Compass book club pick for January. It follows two archaeologists in the Mexican jungle as they're trying to find a very ancient sword and man, and there's like a difference of opinion on where it is, but I like this. It's not my favorite. I will definitely pick up more from Joe Segura. I did enjoy her writing. I annotated this because it was a book club pick and wanted to be more aware of what was going on. But I would recommend it if you're kind of getting into fantasy, but also if you're looking for the very specific vibe of reading that has to come from, obviously, Indiana Jones. And I would recommend picking this up. Also, The Mummy. This was stellar for that. I love archaeology. I was like a history major in college, so fun. Then, and this is actually my book club pick for February at my local bookstore, and that is A Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee. This is a sapphic romance. I don't know much about it other than the fact that it's a sapphic romance, and I was excited to get to it. It's very pretty and pink and very shiny. I am excited to read this for my book club. And yeah. Then I have a couple of nonfiction because I'm trying to get more into nonfiction this year. As I've said, diversifying my reads, but also learning more from nonfiction about certain topics. And so the first book I have is We Want to Do More Than Survive, Abolitionist Teaching and the Pursuit of Educational Reform by Bettina L. Love. I've already started this. It's very, very informative so far. I've highlighted a lot of it and I'm taking notes as I read it. But I find it particularly fascinating because I, for a very long time, was an educator. I worked with kids. I love the idea of the next generation and educating them. And yeah, so I picked this one up. As I said, I'm already part way into this. It's very informative. And I think it's also very, I'm trying to think of the word, very easy to digest, very digestible. So definitely recommend picking this up so far. Then I picked up Dear White Women, Let's Get Uncomfortable, Talking About Race by Sarah Blanchard and Masasha Suzuki Graham. This is apparently, they have a podcast that they do together. I picked it up because, again, I'm trying to educate myself more as I'm reading more diversely, but also trying to be a better ally. And yeah, I'm excited to get to this when I do. It looks very good, and it empowers, on the back of the book it says it empowers us to be anti-racist in our everyday lives. It teaches us how to do our part and push the needle of change in a direction that will benefit all of us. And yeah, so I'm excited to get to that one. And then this, I actually already listened to the whole audiobook and really found it very informative. I want to go back later in the year and listen to the audiobook as I'm physically reading, but that is The 100 Years' War on Palestine, A History of Settler Colonialism and Resistance, 1917 to 2017 by Rashid Khalidi. And this I also read during the Global Strike for Gaza week, and again found it very informative. It kind of goes through obviously all of those 100 years from 1917 to 2017 in Palestine, and the rise of the Zionist movement, but also how Palestinian groups responded to that. And it's very, I think it goes through both sides and shows in each what is happening. And yeah, it was, again, very informative. I recommend reading it if you're kind of interested in getting to know more about Palestine. It was another very digestible read, and kind of just puts the facts out there. And it covers, I think, 6 major turning points in Palestinian history through the Zionist movement, but also through the current Israeli occupation and the current kind of genocide, and how it didn't just start now, it's been going on for over a century. And yeah, so that is my final book from my January book haul. I'm so glad to have all these. I am also glad that I have the opportunity to receive free books from publishers, and I'd like to thank once again Berkeley Romance and Forever and Discover Forever. I'm very excited to read all those books or to have copies of books that I've already read. And yeah, if you like this video, I hope you will subscribe, leave a like down below, and comment a book that you recently hauled. I'm nosy. But yeah, stay tuned for more. I'm hoping to upload more with my new job. And yeah, love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye.
All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.